Welcome to the Digital Revolution with Jim Kunkel. I appreciate you joining this live session here on LinkedIn Audio. Over the last few months of the Digital Revolution with Jim Kunkel podcast, I've been highly satisfied with the reception of the audio podcast, content, and topics. If you're not following or a subscriber of the podcast, please, after this live chat session ends, search the Digital Revolution with Jim Kunkel on your favorite podcast provider and set your follow or subscribe to the podcast. You'll find the podcast on providers like Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Before I set up today's topic, I'd like to cover how you can participate in this live session. It's real easy. All you have to do is use the raise your hand icon in the chat menu. Also, please feel free to hit any emoji to let me know how you're feeling about this live chat. I'm recording this session's audio to rebroadcast this chat on the Digital Revolution channel on YouTube. And our topic is Windows Copilot plus AI PC versus Apple M3 MacBook. And where this particular topic came up for me tonight is that yesterday The Verge had published an article about this new battle of the PCs and providers. So I kind of want to talk about that article. But before I do that, I want to say welcome to everyone to this live chat. We'll be discussing the latest developments in the tech world, and today diving into the exciting battle that's brewing between Microsoft's Copilot AI PCs and Apple's M3 MacBook Pro. Now, Microsoft recently unveiled a new lineup of AI-focused PCs, and they're branded as Copilot Plus PCs, which promises advanced features and performance. These ARM-based devices are equipped with neural processing units, or NPUs, that enable impressive capabilities like the recall feature, which allows users to easily revisit their screen activity, but can they truly outperform Apple's M3 MacBook Air? So let's explore the details and find out what's new in the world of PCs and wars breaking out potentially, and what this might look like. But before we go on, I want to mention two aspects of AI chips that I would like to provide more context on. First, I want to talk about ARM-based devices. ARM, or ARM, is a family of RISC, which is reduced instruction set computing. This is an instruction set of architecture for computer processors. Now, here's some key points about ARM-based chips. The first is design and licensing. ARM Limited develops the ISAs, which are instruction set architectures, and they license them to other companies. These companies then build physical devices, the chips, that use the ARM instruction set. Now, ARM Limited also designs and licenses cores that implement these ISAs. The second thing I want to mention is applications. ARM processors are widely used due to their low cost, low power consumption, and low heat generation. Now, some common applications include smartphones, laptops, tablet computers, embedded systems, and servers. And this would also include the fast supercomputers that are out there. Now, the third thing I want to mention is generations. There have been several generations of ARM designs. And the original ARM 1 used a 32-bit internal structure, but it had a 26-bit address space. And it limited it to 64 megabits of main memory. Now, current versions remove this limitation, leading to the ARM v3 and beyond. Now, some examples. So you have NVIDIA's Tegra chip. This is used in the Nintendo Switch. And in Apple's M1 and M2 processors, M3 processors for Apple are rolling out soon for Macs and MacBooks. So here's the takeaway on what I just mentioned. ARM chips are versatile, efficient, and widely used across various devices and systems. And they strike a balance between cost, size, power consumption, and performance. Now, an NPU, or a neural processing unit, is a dedicated processor designed specifically for accelerated neural network operations and AI tasks. Unlike general purpose CPUs and GPUs, NPUs are optimized for data-driven parallel computing, which makes them highly efficient at processing massive multimedia data like videos and images, as well as handling AI-related tasks such as speech recognition, background blurring in video calls, and photo or video editing processes like object detection. These NPUs are integrated circuits, but they differ from single function AISCs. As I mentioned earlier, that's application specific integrated circuits. By offering more complexity and flexibility to cater to the diverse demands of network computing. For most consumer products, the NPU is integrated into the main CPU, while in larger data centers or specialized industrial operations, it might be a separate discrete processor on the motherboard. Ultimately, NPUs play a crucial role in accelerating AI workloads, enhancing performance, and enabling new AI-driven capabilities in devices and systems. Okay, I'm going to refer to an article published yesterday on TheVerge.com by Tom Warren, who is a senior editor and a 20-plus year veteran of all things Microsoft and PCs. Now, the article is titled Inside Microsoft's Mission to Take Down the MacBook Air. So as the article goes, and I'm going to be reading parts of the article itself. It starts off by saying Microsoft is convinced its new Copilot Plus PCs will beat Apple's M3 processor and spark a new generation of Windows laptops. Let me go into the article a little deeper. Microsoft is confident that it finally nailed a transition to ARM chips, so confident that this time around the company spent an entire day pitting its new hardware against the MacBook Air. On a recent morning at its headquarters in Redmond, Washington, Microsoft representatives set out a new Surface device equipped with Qualcomm's Snapdragon X Elite chips inside and compared them directly to Apple's category leading laptops. The author here said he witnessed an hour of demos and benchmarks that started with Geekbench and Signbench comparisons, then moved on to apps and compatibility. Now, the benchmark tests that he had mentioned here, they usually aren't that real exciting to watch, but a lot was at stake here. For years, the MacBook Air has been able to smoke ARM-powered PC chips, and Intel-based ones too. Except this time around, the Surface pulled ahead on the first test, then it won another test and another test after that, and it kept repeating winning tests. The result of these tests are why Microsoft believes it now is in position to conquer the laptop market. Let's go a little further into the article. For performance, over the past 2 years, Microsoft has worked in secret with all of its top laptop partners to ready a selection of ARM-powered Windows machines that will hit the market this summer. Known as Copilot Plus PCs, they're meant to kickstart a generation of powerful, battery-efficient Windows laptops and lay the groundwork for an AI-powered future. Here's a quote from Youssef Mehdi, the Executive Vice President and Consumer Chief Marketing Officer at Microsoft. You're going to have the most powerful PC ever. During the Microsoft debriefing, he said, in fact, it's going to outperform any device out there, including an Apple MacBook Air with an M3 processor by over 50% on sustained performance. Windows laptops have fallen far behind MacBooks in performance and battery life ever since Apple's transition to its own chips with the M1 launch in 2020. That makes Microsoft's confidence level here surprising, particularly given its rocky efforts with Windows on ARM over the past decade. Microsoft first attempted to transition Windows to ARM chips with the Surface RT in 2012, but performance was terrible and the app compatibility was virtually non-existent. The launch of the Surface Pro X in 2019 was a lot better thanks to improved emulation and underlying window changes. And it wasn't enough to match the Apple's M1 launch months later, but it was a sign of things to come with the start of a close Qualcomm partnership that now looks it might finally pay off. Here's another quote from Youssef. It's something we haven't had in over 2 decades. We have not had high ground on having the most performance device. We're going to have that now. I don't believe fully convinced they spent enough time with one of these new Copilot PCs, the author writes in this article, but everything Microsoft showed me around the performance and battery life looks light years ahead of the ARM-powered Windows laptops that existed before today. Now, for compatibility in the article, it says, one of the big advancements in the improved emulation called Prism, which Microsoft claims is efficient to Apple's Rosetta 2 translation layer, can give emulative apps twice as fast as the previous generations of Windows on ARM devices. Here's a quote. We spent a ton of energy here for apps that are not native. We're not able to take advantage of Prism's capabilities and solve this with a better energy platform and performance efficiency of the emulator, says Windows and Surface chief Pavan Devori. That should result in efficiency gains over the previous emulator, but Microsoft is being vague with its promises here. So, as the author says, he's not expecting huge leaps. Emulation only goes so far anyway. Apple's success with the M1 was thanks to developers quickly porting apps to be fully native. Windows needs the same level of support from its developer community. Fortunately for Microsoft, two major shifts have happened in recent years. First, many of the biggest apps now narratively support ARM chips. Photoshop, Dropbox, Zoom, Spotify, and top entertainment apps like Prime and Hulu are all native. ARM64 apps now, second, Google and many other browser makers are moving to ARM64, a native version of Chrome launched recently, followed by Opera, and that was just the previous week. Firefox, Brave, Microsoft Edge are also ARM64 native. So you won't lose performance in any browser. And that's a big deal when you consider a lot of apps that are web-based now that we spend more time on and even inside of a browser. Overall, Microsoft believes 87% of total app minutes spent on these Copilot Plus PCs will be inside native apps. It's still working on closing the other 13%, but Prism emulator will help in that in the meantime. All of this app compatibility and performance is nothing without battery life. Microsoft uses a script to simulate web browsing. On the 2022 Intel-based Surface Laptop 5, it took 8 hours and 38 minutes to completely deplete a battery. The new Surface Copilot Plus PC lasted 2 times that, hitting 16 hours and 56 minutes. And that's an incredible jump in efficiency. And it even beats the same test on a 15-inch MacBook Air M3, which lasted 15 hours and 25 minutes. That's a whole hour and a half more. And Microsoft ran similar tests for video playback, which saw the Surface Copilot Plus PC hit more than 20 hours in a test, with the MacBook Air reaching 17 hours and 45 minutes. That's also nearly 8 hours more than the Surface Laptop 5, which lasted 12 hours and 30 minutes. If those battery gains extend beyond basic web browsing and video playback, this will be a significant improvement for Windows laptops. Let's talk about AI. These Copilot Plus PCs are equipped with a neural processing unit, or an NPU, from Qualcomm that hits 45 TOPS of compute for AI tasks. That results in more AI task operations per watt than the MacBook Air M3 and NVIDIA's RTX 4060. Microsoft is also integrating more than 40 AI models directly into Windows on ARM to enable new experiences inside Windows for four app developers. Around 10 of these are small language models that will run in the background, and these models will allow developers to bring AI experiences directly to their models. And Microsoft battery life measurements include them running continuously on the NPU. These really open the doors for new possibilities for AI experiences. These NPUs give the magic of the ability to run fairly high performance workloads. And Microsoft demonstrated in its new recall feature during this event, which essentially allows you to time travel back to something you saw on your PC or you were working on. And this is all thanks to these AI models running in the background and cataloging everything that you're working on. So there is an explorable timeline that you can see and you can view and go back to. The live caption features of Windows 11 is also getting AI-powered live translations to provide real-time translation of any video. And Microsoft is also adding auto super resolution to Windows 11, which automatically upscales games to improve frame rates and graphic resolutions. As the author says in the article, it's still early in the days when AI features inside Windows, but Microsoft has built a new kernel and compiler ready for these ARM-based chips. It's a rework at the heart of the Windows on ARM. It should make it feel speedy to use and potentially unlock a new wave of AI features and apps. Every once in a while, you get the opportunity to work on something special where the technology is changing and you're on the verge of discovering something, says Mehdi. I think we might have one of those moments. So Acer, Dell, HP, Lenovo, and Samsung are all launching new Copilot Plus PCs, which will ship initially with Qualcomm processors. If everything Microsoft showed during this event, if it holds up in the real-world testing, this is a monumental movement for Windows laptops, and it's just as big as an impact of a new release of the Windows itself. So in my opinion, what we're seeing here is we're starting to see the beginnings of the second PC war. And the second PC war will not be over the operating systems, it's going to be over the AI. And it's going to be very interesting. So, what's the positive spin on this versus situation between Microsoft and Apple? Well, simply, Microsoft's Copilot Plus PCs aim to stabilize the Windows ecosystem, providing a competitive alternative to Apple's M series MacBooks while leveraging AI capabilities for improved performance and efficiency. Now, meanwhile, with Apple, the M3 MacBook Air is focused on AI integration, especially allowing local execution of AI apps for enhanced productivity. And the battle between these AI-driven devices and their parent companies promises exciting advancements for the users. When the user wins, that's a great victory. Thank you for joining in on this current news developing between Microsoft and Apple. We're now seeing the beginnings of a new PC battle, as I mentioned, with AI versus operating systems as the catalyst. I hope you found this chat informative and engaging. And stay tuned for more exciting discussions here on the latest trends and developments from the digital revolution with Jim Kunkel. Well, this concludes the live chat portion of this session. Okay, have a great evening, afternoon, or morning, no matter where you're listening from.